Welcome to a pivotal moment in the world of broadcast as we proudly present the Men's Mental Health Show featuring the renowned Larry Mabry in collaboration with the Maassen Group. This essential exploration of men's mental health wouldn't be possible without the invaluable support of Rainier Avenue Radio World. Now, let's dive into this crucial conversation with Larry Mabry and the Maassen Group. Your mental well-being matters. Here's Larry Mabry.
Hey, what's going on? What's going on, guys? It's good to hear you guys, or see you guys actually today. It's December 30th, 2024. About a year ago, October 30th, 2024, a year and 2 months started. So we're looking at the year and 2 month anniversary. So I'm excited to be here. Quick question for you as we kind of wrap up this year. Curious to see, what is your New Year's resolution for your mental health? And so just kind of wanted to talk about that. And I was kind of inspired by this. There's a movie, I think it was called The Last Holiday with Queen Latifah. And I think she was in a situation where she realized that, she didn't really have that much time to live. Think about like if you were in the world and you're just, if you knew your days were numbered and you didn't really have a lot of time to live, like how would you live your life, right? If you knew, and we all know this, but I think sometimes we can easily take it for granted. But in the movie, it was really interesting because she took a really proactive approach. She pretty much created like a bucket list, and she decided, I'm going to fulfill those things that I really did not fulfill because she pretty much was working all the time, putting in that work. And it's like work, home, pay bills. And she was like, man, there's got to be more to life than this. And so she basically started knocking on her bucket list. And so I wanted to kind of bring that up to the forefront because I think sometimes, we kind of get into a grind and we forget, what is life really about? And so what are some things that's like a New Year's resolution for you? And, usually when I meet with my clients, whenever there's a new type of thing that we introduce, it could be overwhelming. And so what you typically suggest is just try one thing at a time and do that for a period of time, and it becomes a habit. So I'm going to go down a list of a couple things, but as I share these things with you, these are New Year's resolutions for your mental health that you can try. Even if at the end of the year, if you only was successful with one thing, to me, that's growth. Because if you add one thing each year and you look in 4 or 5 years, and guess what? You grew. And if you notice the benefit of it, you'll probably try to do more things. And so I would say in human nature, the biggest thing is change, right? Even though change is the only constant, I think change for people can sometimes be overwhelming. And so a couple things I want to talk about. So what are some things that we could do for our mental health for New Year, for 2025? Well, one thing that I would suggest is, especially for our men, and this may be challenging for some of us, but ask for help. I think sometimes our ego, our pride, we struggle with help. I recently went to visit my parents, my mom and my sister back in Michigan, and I asked my friend for help to drop me off at the airport, right? Just sometimes we have to swallow our pride, and there might be things that we're struggling with, but ask for help. There's nothing wrong with that. So that's one thing. Another thing is, reduce the screen time. Dun, 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 right? For those people that are caught up on gaming, sometimes we do a lot of things with technology to distract ourselves, or checking out emails, doing a lot of work. And so even if we say, I'm going to reduce the screen time for 1 hour a week, we'll notice we'll have a little bit happier life. Another thing too, and this is a big one for men, is to be kind to yourself. Dun, dun, dun. What does that look like? Well, sometimes, we may say some things that's a little negative. We may put forth certain actions that's not really benefiting ourselves, so we need to be kinder to ourselves, right? That's something I'm working on. Another thing is to keep a journal. That's important because, again, like we're at the end of the year. Imagine, at the end of this year, you look at your journal and you're able to kind of see your growth, right? You say, okay, this is my intention. This is kind of what I want to accomplish. And I look up and then bam, you know what I'm saying? Hey, what's up, Andrew? Um, well, yeah, I appreciate you tuning in to Rainier Avenue. Yeah, maybe do it after our segment, but the other things that distract us, right? And so yeah, I appreciate you tuning in there. Yeah, so move your body too, right? Go for a walk. I've been playing around with this app on my phone. If you have an iPhone, there's an app. It's called Fitness, right? And I just go for walks and make sure you can set certain goals on there. And it's cool because it starts with a circle, and then you take a couple steps, and then you close the circle, and you look back, and you're like, wow, this is cool. So yeah, appreciate you chiming in there, Andrew. For those people that don't know, Andrew, a good friend of mine, we had a segment a while back. I think we were talking about the father wound. And so he and I have been talking about, so we'll probably bring him back on there. So thanks again for chiming in there for us. What are some other things? Reach out. What do you think are some other things we could do as far as our resolutions, or some things we could work on? One thing I would say is connect with others, and I would say make sure we have authentic type of connections with people. I think that's important. And that's something I'm working on as well, to cultivate those relationships. Life is too short, so it's really important to make sure that we cultivate those relationships. And I know for me, my stepdad passed away. He loved to play football, and so we would watch football all the time, and that's cool. And there's nothing wrong with that, but also work on trying to have an authentic relationship as well. Not to say that wasn't, but something to kind of cultivate the heart, right? Something to help you become a little bit deeper within yourself. And I know that can be challenging for us, right? Another one, drink less alcohol. For those individuals that like to celebrate and party, have a good time, maybe one less drink, I think can go further, right? That doesn't mean that, you stop totally, entirely, but just like maybe shut down a little bit, right? Another thing too is, get yourself out there. What does that mean? Well, sometimes we have these thoughts of, man, I really want to go hiking, or, I want to play tennis, or I want to try a new thing, and just do it, right? I think sometimes we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and we don't want to take that action. And we have those little voices kind of keeping us from doing it. Take a risk and just do it. And it's so weird because during the holidays, I was vacillating back and forth from visiting my mom, and I just said, forget it. I just got a ticket, boom, and just did it. And I'm so excited I did it. And I think for me, the challenge was, I was like, man, okay, during this time, I could do a lot of things for my business. I could do a lot of things on the back end, but life is too short, and you want to make sure you value the people you care about. And so I would encourage you to, spend quality time with people that you care about. Also embrace self-compassion. Yeah, what does that look like? Well, being real with yourself. For me, there's a few people I have in my life that always calls me out of my BS. And I appreciate those individuals because they keep me honest with myself. And I think that's important, because as you live life, if you live in a facade, then what are you creating? A facade. So it's important to have some people that kind of help you stay on the straight and narrow, but also for yourself, make sure you're compassionate towards yourself. This may be, listening to calm music, the journal, being mindful of your self-talk. Also to help others. It's funny because when I was in Detroit, I saw some friends I hadn't seen for a while. And my mom, for those people who don't know, my mom, she's awesome in the cooking, in the kitchen. She can really cook. And one of my friends, I was like, hey, the holidays, what are you doing? I was in town. They're like, hey, let's get caught up. And I was like, hey, would you mind me bringing you a plate? They're like, and this particular individual, they like to cook as well. And so they're like, yeah, cool. And so I brought them a plate, and they ended up doing TikTok on the plate that I got from my mom. And it was a huge success. But it made me feel good to, offer food to somebody. And they felt really appreciative as well, to nourish somebody. Okay. Another thing too is prioritize sleep, right? Make sure you get a little bit more sleep. I know for me, as I get older, I definitely, without fail, appreciate a few extra minutes of sleep, just to cultivate the mind, relax the mind, kind of reset the mind, kind of focus on like the priorities for the day. um, and that really helps, right? And then stop, smell the roses, and also impart what I like to call gratitude. Practice gratitude. I think it's really, really easy for us to kind of get caught up on political agendas, kind of look around, and we notice that the world is competitive. But it's also important to just say, hey, I'm thankful. And so stop and say, hey, I'm thankful for you. I appreciate those individuals that are listening. So thank you for that. Appreciate all those individuals that's been on the show. Appreciate, Daniel, all the other individuals here that's been helpful to kind of help get the show going. And so stop and smell the roses and show appreciation. Give people their roses while they're alive. We don't want to start giving them roses when they're gone. I mean, we do, but we want to make sure that while people are here, we stop and say, hey, you know what, I appreciate you. It makes them feel good, and it also puts a nice positive vibe in the universe. Also, too, foster your mental health. Dun, dun, dun. And for us, I would say as men, that's huge, right? But what I realize is, like, the last couple of years since I've really been prioritizing that, I've noticed that my life has gotten a lot better. And it's crazy because I talk to people and they'll say, Larry, like, I'm noticing that, like, I'm starting to see, those people who are for me and those individuals who are not for me. And there's some inner battles that we still struggle with, right? As far as like certain types of addictions that we have to work through, and everyone has their vice that they're working through. But what I notice is, as you prioritize your mental health and you keep pouring into yourself, that what ends up happening is you kind of create a force field. You build up your self-confidence, and then, like, eventually you'll notice those things, but they don't distract you. Whereas in the past, those things may have kind of overcome and taken over you. But if you constantly practice it, that with meditation or mindfulness in a journal and just kind of holding yourself accountable. And one other thing too, practice is saying no. Hey, what's going on? Appreciate that. Oh, from Island. Appreciate you looking out. Thank you so much. Um, Irish Jim, appreciate you. Yeah, thank you so much for listening. And yeah, I noticed if you keep a journal, also practice saying no to people. That's a big one too. For me, I would say, as a man who comes from um, a beautiful mother with two sisters, a lot of times, if you have a family where you're the only male or you have some sisters in your family, typically you end up, doing a lot of things because you love your siblings and you love your mom. But sometimes you got to draw the line because they'll just continually go on. And appreciate that, Irish. And what I noticed too, while I was there, my mom kind of asked me to do some things while I was there, which was fine. She had kind of some low hanging ceilings, and you know how you kind of have the drop down ceilings. So she's like, hey, you mind if we go grab some of those the little square drop downs, and I think they come in like an 8-pack. You might put them in there. I'm like, sure, no problem. It's funny, once you start getting to work on some stuff, you realize what's really going on. And so there's some pipes and stuff in there. We worked it out, but what was really cool was to see my mom's face, right? She was so excited to see, that change. She's like, this has been like this for like 8 years. And so it was cool to see the smile on her face. So just kind of offer some things to other people to kind of assist other people. And so, yeah, so what are some things you guys that think will be really cool as far as some New Year's resolutions, Um, oh, cool. Oh, you spoiled your mom? Oh, wow. You know what? That's so cool. I'm curious to see, what did you do to spoil your mom? Thanks, Jimmy. Jimmy just kind of chimed in here from Ireland. You spoiled your mom. What did you do for her 60th birthday? Did you take her out? Did you do some cool things? Feel free to reach out and kind of let us know. And actually, are these things helpful? Do you think this will be pretty beneficial for you as far as kind of these resolutions? What are some resolutions that you think that you might need to work on? So feel free to kind of reach out and let us know with that too. And I appreciate you guys reaching out to me. That would be one of the other ones, right? Reaching out to others. So thank you for that. Okay, let me read this. Okay, you created a shout out for people and a lead singer, comedian shout out, and done a buffet. Oh man, that's so cool. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, Irish. Yeah, that's so cool. He said he reached out Did a shout out for people, and lead singer, comedian for his mom, buffet, hot food and cake. Oh, cool, man, that's awesome. And what are some other things we could do as far as showing kind of working within our New Year's resolution, right? I like the fact that you kind of working with mom. How did you feel about that, Jimmy? Did that make you feel so good? I'm sure your mom was so excited. Mom's awaiting surgery for February, so I done a music video. Oh, like wow, that's cool. Wow, and the family loved the idea. It's awesome. That's great. I appreciate you sharing that. It sounds like you're using your creativity as well. I wish your mom great luck and prosperity in her surgery. And I appreciate you reaching out. It sounds like you kind of connected with the family, so it's great. So awesome. Thanks for sharing that. And so I'm curious as to see like what else are you looking to kind of reserve those New Year's resolution? Are you working with other family members? What are you doing with yourself? Right. That's important, right? You got to have enough energy for yourself to kind of look out. Okay, families are precious. I lost my brother at 15 and father of cancer, so I keep family and friends at heart. Wow, I appreciate you sharing that, Irish Jimmy. I can relate to that as well. If you chimed in before, I recently lost my stepdad back in September, Octoberish, and then we lost Dr. Carter, prominent figure here in the community. And so I can definitely understand what you're going through. That I wish you much success and healing with that. But thank you for chiming in. So, and you're right. I like how you said, keep family and friends at heart, because when people pass away, it helps you realize what's really, really important. So thank you for sharing that. Okay. Oh, something else. Okay. Didn't cost money to make that video, but seeing mom cry and laugh, watching how many people take their time to show how much she means on the video. Yeah. You know what? And I'm glad you're saying that, Irish Jimmy, because I feel like another thing too is connecting with the heart, right? Like when you lose some people, there's a grieving process you go through, but also too, you realize what's really, really important. It's that human connection. Sometimes we get caught up with cell phones and working and we get busy. But I like what you're saying there, because it was a simple thing to just show that human connection. And that's just kind of the thread that keeps us all together. So thank you for sharing that. So yeah, you're awesome with that. So, okay. What else? You said done stage crew, security, but I have plans for January as in pointing mom's house up and power washing jobs for her. Oh, okay, cool. How's the weather out there right now? So right here, I mean, it's a little nippy, but it's not too cold. But I think if it gets a little colder, if you power wash, it may freeze up, but it might be okay. But that's cool. So setting up some security, stage crew, January. So that's like right around the corner. So I'm sure she'll appreciate that. Right? People get brainwashed by gaming. Yeah. You're right. And I think it's okay to kind of have a little bit of relaxation, but you're right. It's that human connection that's so important. So again, thank you so much, Irish Jimmy, for your comments. Yeah, the weather here isn't cold enough for snow. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's great. I'm curious to see anybody else want to chime in and kind of share some things that they like to do. Irish Jimmy, are there some things that you like to do for New Year's resolution, as far as maybe something you would like to add, for your year with some mental health resolution? What are some things you notice that you want to share that could probably be beneficial for our folks? I'm curious. So I would say here in Washington, the weather's pretty decent. I was about 40 degrees. Not too bad. So, okay, when I called you Larry Mabry, that's my Irish, or Larry Marley, that's my Irish humor. I give everyone a nickname. Okay, that's cool. So Larry Marley, okay, that's what's up. And it's so interesting, Irish Jimmy, that you say that. I mean, that's so cool. I feel like we're connected because my mother, actually, we were talking about this. She gives me, well, all the kids have a nickname. And because growing up, she really liked the Bilbo Baggins series, Lord of the Rings, the Hobbit series. And so she would always call me Bilbo Baggins. And so that's kind of cool. So I'm Larry Mabry to, I would say, a lot of my individuals I would go to school with, but the family actually called me Billy because my middle name is William. And so my mom would call me Bilbo Baggins. So I'm really familiar with that. Irish Jimmy. And so I'm gonna call you Jimbowski. How about that? Irish Jimbowski. So I appreciate that. So no, I take that as a compliment. Okay, so your New Year's resolution would be to not drink as much. I like that. To do more forest walks and mountain walks. I quit smoking last year, and so I stuck to it. Oh, congratulations! Yeah, that's awesome. Keep up the good work. And I like what you said about the forest walks because you have a lot of that pure oxygen. You know, you can breathe it in and just kind of let it go. So hopefully you'll feel a lot better with that. Um, oh, camping. Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up. Well, maybe we need to connect, if you can get some time and come here to Washington, we can kind of get that going on. There's a lot of cool things to see out here in Washington. I don't know if you've ever been out here, but that'd be kind of cool. But I like what you said. To not drink as much. I think that's good. Maybe drink water. I would encourage that, find an alternative. And the smoking, so that's good. That's awesome. Cool. And I like the sense of humor. Keep the sense of humor too. I think that's going to be a nice little stress reliever. And then when you go camping, do you do the glamping or just do you do the tent? What do you do with the camping, right? And then how long do you go? Are you going for like a weekend? Are you going for like a week? Oh, okay, right. I always said as humans, we need to reach out to others because they could be going through depression. The 30-minute walk, you can learn a lot. You know what? You're right. You're right. I like that. And I like to do walks too. Make sure you walk for yourself, but also too when you walk with people, you move the lymph, you breathe in, and that one thing, the breath thing that we kind of take for granted. I think just the breathing makes a big difference. And then when you're walking in nature, I don't know, it seems like nature kind of just grounds you, because you don't really have any technology around. You just pretty much have nature around and just the natural lungs. And then the 30 minutes can actually be 45 minutes. It can go pretty quickly, right? And I like what you said about the forest and the mountains because the views can be so beautiful as well. So yeah, I appreciate that. Okay. All right. I ask people all the time, and when walking up mountains, I've lost count how many people said to me, I was feeling like ending my life, but that walk done me good. Oh, you know what? You're right. You're right. Yeah. I think the walk really kind of resets people. And it just kind of resets people, kind of get them to kind of reset, revision, reestablish themselves. You're right. Yeah, I agree with you. And then you're right, the walk helps. And I like to do it every day because you kind of reset. And I think it kind of does something with the nervous system too, right? It allows you to kind of self-soothe in a very healthy way, right? Okay, you said another one. As humans, if we notice people lock themselves away, it's good to reach out, bring a flask of tea. Let me see this flask of tea and wind up radio. Yeah, okay, that's what's up. Yeah, good music is always helpful, and you come back laughing. Yes, I like that sense of humor. Yeah, you definitely want to make sure that you break up the monotony a little bit. And I like what you're saying too, because you're connecting with people, right? With their heart. It seems like you really care about people, which is great, right? And you're looking at individuals from a soul perspective, like really taking care of them, that human perspective, which I think we kind of lost, right? I think sometimes we kind of get caught up on some things that are kind of superficial. So I like what you're saying. So thank you so much, Irish Jim, for reaching out. Now you're in Ireland, so I'm curious to see like where's this? What time is it in Ireland right now? So right now it's about almost 6 o'clock here. I'm just curious to see what time it is there. But I appreciate you being on. But also too, so real quick, so New Year's Eve is tomorrow. So all live shows are canceled tomorrow and Wednesday. And the live shows will resume on Thursday as scheduled. So you guys know New Year's Eve tomorrow, and then we have New Year's. So that's why we cancel that. Okay. So yeah, you're right. People come back laughing. We also have a good time. And you know what? They talk about that too, right? I would add that too as a New Year's resolution. Laugh more. Life is too short, so laugh more, right? Don't take it so personal, right? Enjoy life. All right. Okay, cool. You said something else. Okay, right. I remember my mom was saying my niece was being a teenager rebel, not listening. So I take her swimming. See, the next day she started to bound, and even though it was my mom's 60th, we didn't. Oh, that's cool. Okay. Celebrating her 18th in October. Okay, congratulations. Wow, that's so interesting too. I want to say I started this show about a year and 2 months ago, October 30th. So I appreciate you chiming in, and that should be cool. I included her and put 18th on the cake as well. What kind of cake was it? Did you guys have a lot of fun with the cake? I don't know. Maybe you can send a picture or something if you don't mind. That'd be kind of cool. But anyway, congratulations, Irish Jimmy. I appreciate you reaching out. Thank you so much for your time. For those people that don't know, we're usually on Mondays here Pacific Standard Time, 5:30 p.m. till about 6. We're at a point we're about to wrap it up here shortly, but I want to say thank you, Andrew, for chiming in. Appreciate you, Irish Jimmy. Appreciate my listeners for chiming in. And I'm curious to see, what do you guys think about? What are some New Year's resolutions that you guys would like to have moving forward? And even if it's just one, right? If you just try one thing and just see what happens if you consistently do that and see what happens for next year. Okay, cool. All right, one more thing. Because I know how teenagers think, I didn't get spoiled. So I said to mom, it doesn't cost more money to include her name as well. You're right. And you know what, Irish Jimmy? I just want to say I appreciate what you're sharing because you're also showing what we call empathy for others. And so it sounds like, you're really in tune with yourself because you're including other family members and you realize life is too short. So thank you for sharing that. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, I'll show you the Cake Brilliant channel. Do you play music on your channel? You know what? We have like a little thing that we play when we first come in, but not so much music on my particular show. But I don't know. I could talk to Daniel. That might be something we could talk about maybe. I don't know. But anyway, want to say welcome you guys to Rainier Avenue. Want to say appreciate Rainier Avenue Radio World for supporting the show. Also, too, make sure you guys tune in for Better Together Living Powerfully with Dr. Tracy Harrell from 6 to 7. I want to say appreciate Irish Jimmy for tuning in. Appreciate Andrew. Appreciate all my 5,000 listeners that are listening. Appreciate you guys. And without further ado, you guys have a good one. Peace.